Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Dads in the Six podcast, episode number 36. I'm your host this week, Nicholas Moselle, and as always, I'm joined by the best man, Jamie Campbell. Hi.
Hey.
I was like this close to trying to make up a new nickname for you just for today, like on the spot, but I couldn't. I don't know.
It's tough to be on the spot.
I don't know where I was going with that one, but that's where I was going with it. Anyways, we're a weekly podcast about being dads in the six and all that jazz. Find our social media links down below. Welcome to our mid-30s. 36. Shit. I guess next episode we're in our late 30s.
You still making that comment on every episode's age?
Yeah, I was trying to find... Again, I'm not good at on this fly
it's
shit.
so not interesting at all. Like, oh, we're in our low 50s, 52, episode 52.
We're in that midlife.
Oh, we're 53. We can't relate to anything.
By 40s, we're like in our midlife crisis.
We officially, though, can't relate to the age anymore.
True. Kids would be a lot older at this age, too. Like a whole different breed of kids.
That's how time works, man. You have 2 kids.
Time's a bitch.
I got that haircut. What was the place called again? It's just drawing a blank.
The Cabin.
The Cabin. I don't know why I was thinking the cave.
Were we talking about this on last week's episode?
I was going to the haircut.
Yeah, okay.
I went.
Uh-huh.
It was good. There was 2 options to book the guy, and I ended up going with the guy without the hat because I thought the guy with the hat looked weird on the website.
I can't trust your barbering skills.
And he was wearing the hat. He was there. He was wearing the hat.
If you're wearing a hat.
Like, so it wasn't just his profile. That's his shtick.
That's his whole...
Yeah. So anyways, I regret maybe not going for that guy. They offered me espresso. Uh-huh. I'm like, I'm going to be so assertive today. I'm like, this is the haircut I want. I'm going to take the espresso, turn down the espresso, sat in the chair quietly. Typically, new hairdressers ask me about my scar on my back. So I get to tell that story. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Got stabbed.
Yeah. But then I accepted the second espresso offer.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's not easy. Drinking an espresso while getting a haircut.
With little hairs falling in it.
Yeah, the one thing I thought, I'm holding it here, and he's like trimming away. I'm like...
When do you bring it in?
Yeah, when do I go for it, right? So I keep waiting for him to for a moment, and I go, and then you have to lean back a little bit just to sip it, and it's like, oh, he's back at it. Hold my espresso here. So maybe the espresso was supposed to be like drink it before I sit down.
The best part is he gives no fucks. He sees this struggle.
Oh, he's having fun with it.
He sees this struggle. As soon as you go in, he probably starts cutting at the front, and all this shit just drips down.
Anyways, I have a bbad habit of when they cut my hair, They'll show it to me like, is that good? And I'm like, yeah, that's good. It's exactly what I wanted. here's your tip for my overpriced haircut. And when my hair gets too long, I tend to play with this part. I start twirling when I'm on the computer or just doing anything. Yeah. And as you can see, I can still do it because he almost took nothing off of the top.
Yeah.
Like very little. He cleared up the sides, which is great. And you said that this gives me something to work with, right?
Yeah, man. You got a nice little wave happening.
Little wave. I needed to put something in it.
You need product bad.
Oh, I was going to take a shower before I got here because I was slaving away in the backyard, but I didn't. Uh-huh. So, sucks to be you.
So, okay. Let's figure this out. You walk in there. How do you... Hey, James. I'm George. I'm your barber. Yeah. What can I do for you today?
I usually put it in their hands, and that's maybe the problem. Is I don't know what to say. I usually say
that's the worst.
I know, and they probably hate it.
Yeah.
But I was like, just clean it up. Give me a nice summer cut. I've been going with the fade thing, and he's like, okay, we'll do number 1 up to a 1 to a 3 or something. This is no 3. This isn't 3. This is like a 9.
That's like 9 inches of hair.
So I don't know where he lost that part, but we did agree on a 1 to a 3-ish.
Okay.
But I don't know what happened.
Why don't you go 0? So that's what I do. Now I'm 2 weeks in, so it's like it's grown in. But then zero's
a legit number. I just figure 0 is nothing.
Or if you're scared, you can go 0.5. You can go 0.5. You say I zero out the sideburns to start. So these are gone. I have no sideburns.
Yeah, I don't do sideburns. I usually trim it.
It's gone, up to the ear line.
Yeah.
Gone sideburns. But then I'm like, keep the 0 going. I say, give me a mid fade. Because you can do a low fade, which gives you just a little bit. I go mid, which is kind of where you can kind of see my fade line. You can go high, which would be closer up to here.
It's like a weird arm.
I'm like, give me a mid fade, 0 all around.
Is mid fade a technical term?
I think so. I think it's a technical barbering term.
Okay.
Just give me a 0 all around.
The last haircut you got though, it was not at this place. It was at the place where the guy said, "I figured out your hair."
Yeah. But then I went back to Lee Boys.
Oh, okay. You're sleeping around.
I'm just this haircut whore. My problem with headquarters is you can't book online, and I hate having to talk to somebody and negotiate. Like, oh, we can't do 1. Can you do 2:30? I'm like, no, let me just go in there and check it out myself. So anyways, I went back to Lee Boys. But no, mid fade, 0 all around. I think this is where I get confused. I think 0 is the same as a skin fade.
Okay.
Though I could be horribly wrong. I think a skin fade is even shorter, and I think they might even take a razor and like just hair gone. Anyways,
I mean, we can get off this topic, but the best part about this shave or this haircut was they took a steaming hot towel. Like borderline, I felt like I was being burned alive.
Like, you're up here, I need you here.
Yeah, like I felt like this isn't safe. Like, I feel like I'm actually like putting my hand under boiling water here.
Yeah.
So anyways, steaming hot towel right over my entire like neck and top, and he just left it there. I'm just like, this hurts, but it just feels so good.
Yeah.
And that was good. And then he straight razored it, which is my favorite part.
But
it was good.
Yeah. Try a 0. Try a mid. Say take it a little higher, and then it just gives more life to your haircut. It just lasts longer. Because I get sloppy sides and stuff. I'm like, if I go 1s, 2s, I'm like, I'm out of it by a weekend.
Yeah.
So
I gotta remember every time it's time to get a haircut, I gotta remember what it feels like to get that nice fresh haircut. Because I always procrastinate by like 2-3 weeks, and it gets that uncomfortable feeling where like, I have to go get a haircut now. I want to preemptive the have to. I want to go just to always keep it fresh.
Throw in a little product in there, your clientele will go right up.
Though. It's the size get too long, the back of the neck gets too long.
I mean, I know you just did some man work in the backyard, and that's cool. But like, throw a little product in there, and then I bet your business will go up.
I mean, I have been. Sorry,
good.
Like this week, I put the Lafette stuff.
Lay right.
I don't know why I always say Lafette.
I'm already at that awkward point of my haircut 2 weeks in where I'm like, so I'm sorry if you're tuning in for my haircut like you do every week. I'm sorry. But anyways, this is a little chit chat, and people are wondering like, aren't we like BFFs? Don't we catch up? I'm starting to feel, and I think you mentioned this a few weeks ago, I just can't talk to you anymore.
Yeah, we're wasting valuable conversation.
We're wasting valuable. Like, you come in, I think even last week I was thinking about it, and then I was like overthinking it to the point that like I felt awkward around you for like the first time in 25 years. I was like, what do I say anything? Am I talking too much? I don't want to talk to you right now, because if I talk to you,
everything's potentially a topic to be talked about.
I guess so, right? So like, don't talk to me about my haircut. I don't want to know what you're doing. I don't care what you bought Link this week.
We can't hang out anymore.
Can't hang out. Just tell me on the podcast. And I find like that's this whole thing. I don't know.
We'll be all right.
I guess our friendship will keep going until we inevitably quit this podcast. So anyways, I can't talk to you before recording, but since we're catching up, you noticed my baby proofing.
Yeah, it took me like 5 minutes to get down to the basement because you were upstairs putting Leia to bed, who was screaming.
Yeah.
And you have this new contraption on the doorknob. I've never seen the childproof lock like that before. Kind of cool.
Yeah, that one's intense. It says installs in 2 minutes. Took me about 18. But first time. Now I could just bang that out if I needed to.
So you got to take the whole knob out.
You got to take the knob out, and then it's like this little giant lock contraption that you got to push in and slide, and it's genius in its simplicity.
It's like the lock that people used to put across their steering wheel that prevents people from like turning your steering wheel. Same thing. Your handle can't go down because there's a little blocker.
Yeah, and all you got to do is push in, slide, and then it's a fully. It looked
cool. It was like this little.
And I just put that in today because she's at that height where it's just like she can reach.
Yeah, Link opens, closes doors like no tomorrow. We just put the gate up like to go downstairs. That's where the gate is. We used to put gates on both kitchen doors, but now we've been putting the gate outside leading down to our basement and locking that door. He hasn't figured locks out yet though.
Yeah, like raptors.
All he does now is run in my office, close the door, and then goes and plays with my office stuff.
Oh yeah. Leia thinks it's hilarious. She closes the barriers on us, like we can't open them, and then tries to rush for the stairs.
Oh, to be one again.
Have you I feel like I'm good with just putting in terms of, this is a parenting podcast, I guess, putting the things on the electrical, like covering the outlets.
Oh, our whole house is covered in them.
Baby gates, and now this one door. Oh no, I totally forgot. We also bought toilet locks. Leia loves to open the toilet and just get in there. So now it's this thing. Apparently, I think it just acts like a doorstop for your toilet.
Right.
Which is going to suck in the middle of the night. And you got pee and you can't.
Yeah, we haven't done one of those. He hasn't been too interested in the toilet. He was for a bit, but couple yellings, and he's
Probably
stopped.
a phase thing.
Now he has this bad habit where he won't eat his food unless one of his shows are on. And we've been pretty good-ish about not having the TV on. Every now and then, Vanessa and I want to watch a show or something. We'll put it on during dinner and face him away if it's something more violent or whatever.
Yeah.
But lately, he won't have none of it. He just be difficult until we turn on one of his shows. So that's going to be something we have to break.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just can't reason with him yet. So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Yeah, I don't know. That's all we did for baby proofing, so nothing too crazy.
Oh, did you hear the Michael Phelps thing?
No.
So it's Shark Week. I think it's Shark Week.
Oh, yeah.
And
let's put a pin on that Shark Week. I'll get back to that later. Keep going.
Okay, but we're not putting a pin in it because I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
So
it's not how pins work, Nick.
So some genius that works, I guess, at Discovery walked into a boardroom. People are like, all right, what are we doing for Shark Week? And he's like, we're going to have Michael Phelps race a shark.
A great white.
And whoever's in charge of that guy's like, you know what? I don't want to hear anything else. Sounds golden. Let's do it.
Whatever it takes to get Michael Phelps.
And then the guy's like, no, hold on. You should know, And the guy's like, nope, don't want to hear anything. Just make it happen. So you'd think there's like one or two ways that they could do this. One is they could somehow course a shark to swim in a straight line from A to B and put Michael Phelps in maybe some sort of cage and have them race somehow.
Yeah.
Or failing that, you'd maybe again convince a shark somehow to swim in a straight line, time it.
Yeah, and
then Michael Phelps can try to beat that score.
Yeah.
Also, that's underwhelming.
Yeah.
So those are the only two options. They somehow went with option C, which was it was in a pool. And sorry, it wasn't in a pool. It was that's completely false. It was something else I watched. Anyways, it was CGI shark. They filmed Michael Phelps swimming in a lake or an ocean or wherever it was, and they CGI'd a shark beside him, jumping out of the air, had a seal in its mouth at one point. Like the shark just like, I'm going to go kill a seal real quick, come back to the race.
Oh my God.
So apparently Michael Phelps lost by 2 seconds. Now, how did they time this CGI shark? I have no idea. But this is the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
This is amazing. I saw the commercial for it. So as you start talking, I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of this. I had no idea they turned a CGI shark on. And so he only lost by 2 seconds. He would have lost by more if the shark didn't eat a seal.
Yeah, I don't know how they timed a CG shark that isn't real. They just must have come up with a time and such a close race, but Michael Phelps lost.
Is it using all those scientific data analysis?
I don't. I've never been a huge thing into Shark Week. I don't understand the appeal.
That's where my pin was. I'll get back to that pin later. Is it one of those things? Remember those kind of stupid shows about like that are like all manly man? Like this is what a samurai versus a
I remember those.
Civil War soldier would be like, and they punched in all this data and then they repeated the fight 1,000 times or whatever. I wonder if it used that science to like, if a great white, and it weighs this much and it's this old and it's in this ocean swimming and it's stopped for seal. This is how fast it would go. And Michael Phelps, just swim, please.
Yeah.
Just swim.
And I mean, I'm sure marine biologists or whoever know how fast a great white is.
Yeah.
So this is just so stupid. There's no way Michael Phelps would have even been 2 seconds too. Like he would have been way behind. Like a shark in water. Come on. A shark's going to be super fast.
Yeah.
No human is going to top a shark.
Yeah. What did they tell you it was a CGI shark? While you were watching?
I just heard about it, and I did some research before I came over. I looked up the video, and you don't have to be told, man. It's a fake shark.
And when I was watching this commercial, I'm like, I know exactly what this is. This is going to be one of those super annoying 2-hour specials, all leading up to the final 3 minutes.
4 minutes, yeah.
And,
it's like anytime they used to do those tightrope stunts or whatever. It was like it was an hour-long thing. And then
they just have to fill time, and it's just like, and they give you the whole history of great whites. They'll probably show you every goddamn medal Michael Phelps has ever won. Maybe he stands a chance, and it's just like,
got to interview his wife.
Yeah, I got to interview his wife, and people are like, I'm really worried he's gonna be swimming with a shark. And then someone tells them, no, it's a goddamn CGI shark. I bet you Michael Phelps people said no. The first options A and B, no. No. You want this special? Give us option CGI.
Yeah.
My God.
I don't watch like Discovery Channel stuff anymore. I don't channel surf and just see what's on anymore. So I miss those days. Price is Right days and Maury Povich, You're Not the Father.
Yeah, You Are Not the Father. The Pin. Yeah, I agree. F Shark Week.
And I see a lot of people on my Facebook talking about it. And
I think it's one of those things that it's
cool to like it,
to act like you're a super fan. When I bet you probably watch an hour's worth of programming that whole week, if that.
Yeah.
But it's cool to get the Instagram likes, right?
And you like it can't all be new programming every week. How much more is there to know about sharks?
That's what I'm saying.
Every single year.
After like 15 years ago, that was my theory. Like what more are we
99% of the content must be repeated. Plus, then they throw in a Michael Phelps CGI thing.
Yeah, and you know that once they show that the first time, boom, that's like 4 times a day, every day for Shark Week.
Yeah. I don't understand the appeal.
I don't get. Listen, sharks are badass, but I don't know, man. Listen to a podcast or something.
Did you see all the new trailers that came out of San Diego Comic-Con?
God damn. We won't. I still don't know our audience's reaction to us nerding out for too long. So I don't know if we should go too deep. But yeah, San Diego Comic-Con, some fun trailers came out of that.
Well, there was Thor 2, which was a really good trailer, maybe better than the first one that came out, the teaser one.
Yeah.
And then Stranger Things 2 trailer was awesome. There's a couple of movies and stuff like that, but I didn't want to talk on it too much. I'm just curious if you saw the big ones.
Yeah, and what's it called? The Defenders, pretty cool. Justice League is like whatever. It looked better. It looks better the more I see Justice League, but again, that's every DC movie.
Are they still pretending Superman's dead?
Until it comes out. Yeah, and then like, you haven't seen the trailer. So at the very end, Alfred's there tinkering with something, and he has like a bottle of scotch, and the water ripples, and he says something like, he said you'd come. Let's just hope. Or let's just, he's like, he puts a lot of emphasis on the word hope. He's like, let's just hope. And again, if you know your DC thing from the other Superman movie, the S stands for hope. So like they're just spelling it out for you. The only cool thing would be like if that's also a super secret like Green Lantern approach or real, because they do tease Green Lantern in the trailer when they're talking about like there's no lantern to guide our way, there's no hope or blah blah blah. Superman's dead. So it's cool so that'd be cool. That would be cool as a total DC non-fan. I enjoy the characters enough to go watch their movies.
Didn't Ben Affleck play Green Lantern?
No, he played Daredevil.
Right.
And then Batman.
Who played Green Lantern?
Ryan Reynolds. Right? Reynolds. Deadpool.
Yeah.
So they I mean, again, same argument we've had since like Rogue One. Like people will go watch this movie in droves. I don't think you need to just ruin the surprise we all know is coming, which is Superman.
Why tease it in the first place, though?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And maybe people won't go see it in groves because, I mean, most of those movies have been sucking except for Wonder Woman, apparently.
Yeah, I still like to watch that.
I saw Spider-Man on the weekend, too.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Is there a lot of after credits?
Two. One doesn't set a whole lot up other than maybe the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And the second one is like a joke one.
Oh. And that one's right at the end of the credits?
Yeah. I would probably, I mean, if you're not in a hurry, but if you don't want to stick around, just watch it online.
True. Yeah, I'm probably going to go on Wednesday with a client of mine just because we have nothing else to do. And
I didn't know you did that.
I
mentioned that to you in the chat.
Yeah, I can. I don't do that crazy often. But we have a little bit extra monies in like our yearly expenditures for like that kind of stuff. And I mean, from a clinical treatment perspective, I mean, it gets him out of the house, gets it out of mom's hair for a little bit of rapport building and bonding. So I'll meet him at the movie theater and we'll probably watch Spider-Man. And
cool. Good excuse for you to go.
Yeah. My case was a little quiet, so it doesn't matter.
So I want to get into my topic this week.
Yeah.
Which is this past week, Chester Bennington died, who's the lead singer of Linkin Park. And I don't know where I'm going with this topic yet. I mean, I have a couple of ideas. I wanted to get into a little bit into depression and what maybe caused him to kill himself. And also I wanted to get into like the people that grieve when band members die. And I mean, like you and I, like the general
people grieve when
the general populace. Yeah, like when a band, when a lead singer or a drummer or whatever dies, and the grieving that people do. Because I don't quite understand it, but I read a cool Reddit post that maybe shed some light on it. So, anyways, long story short, Chester Bennington, he has 6 kids. I think his youngest are 5, and they're twins. Beautiful wife. Battling depression ever since Chris Cornell. Actually, probably battling depression way before that. But him and Chris Cornell were really, really, really close. The singer in Soundgarden.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I kind of want to talk to you because I'm no expert. I'm not in the medical field. I know neither are you, but you're the best we got in this 2-man crew to even maybe touch on the depression sort of world.
Depression.
Because I think
suicide.
you and I growing up and going through high school and stuff, I don't think what's what I'm looking for? We never appreciated what those people could be going through. And I think nowadays we're obviously much more mature and we could kind of understand it. But I think growing up, we were always like, oh, shrug it off. Or, what's wrong with these people? And Jesus made a comment in the chat where he could say he could never quite understand why people can kill themselves like this. And I don't think he meant it in an ignorant way.
Yeah.
He just meant it like he can't relate. And I sort of said, like, I know it's the same thing. I think our worst day, you said it, I think, our worst day ever that we've ever had doesn't come close to their everyday or their worst day. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just let's go there first.
With Chester. Did they say how he committed suicide?
I think it was a hanging.
Oh, okay.
I think it was in his house.
Okay.
Which Robin Williams did the same sort of thing, and I had to see a hanging for myself when I was on the road doing paramedic stuff, and if you're gonna do it, man, I feel like there's different ways to do it. I don't like the idea of a kid walking in and seeing that. You know what I mean? Like if you're at that point where you made the decision to take your life for these guys, I don't know.
Put a pin in hanging yourself in your basement with your kids. Put a pin in that.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. But yeah, Chester Bennington, right? He was like 41.
Yeah, I think so.
The only I did read on Reddit, and again, this is Reddit. Who knows? Someone said he was sexually abused by a male.
Okay.
From the ages of like 7 to 13.
Yeah.
That'll fuck you right up. That's risk A. Like that's the first one almost for like suicidality or like thinking of depression or like thinking of hurting yourself. Like that's a huge risk factor for that sort of thing. So if that is true from what I read from someone's random comment, that could make sense how that would just kind of like build on itself. If it started at 7 and then all the way to your 13, like 7, you probably barely know what's going on in terms of like sex. And then for that to continue, I don't know if he was like sexual intercourse, but like just said sexually abused, touched or whatever. And then all the way up to your 13 when you're like pretty well aware. And then, so it probably just messed with him from like that age and then just kind of compounded itself. Then you add in, who knows, like all the other risk factors, drugs, family, predisposition to mental health. He could have had like all the fame, fortune, all that shit probably gets to you like to an extent, right? That's why all these celebrities like go crazy.
So I wanted to mention that too, where we obviously hear about the celebrity ones, right? But I wonder what percentage of suicide, I mean, the number must be per day or per year must be way higher than the celebrity ones that we hear about.
Yeah.
So I don't buy the whole money and fame aspect of it because they're such a minority.
Yeah. They're just ones you hear about because
right.
They're celebrities.
There's people are killing themselves are doing it for all sorts of reasons, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, sure, money I think could be involved, but I don't know if I buy the whole fame thing.
I'm sure it's just like I'm talking more about like the stress, the pressure of like having to like be on top, perform, kind of like you're
okay. Those aspects.
You don't have like the privacy. You don't have kind of the that luxury, I guess, of kind of living your own life, right? Like if I had the choice, I think I would just choose to be filthy rich rather than filthy rich and famous. Like let me be a millionaire and just no one. No, right?
Just be a CEO of a company or something.
Just be a CEO. No one really knows who you are. But But yeah, I mean, suicides among shit. I guess I could know or I should know, but I don't know off the top of my head. But it is a high kind of percentage that doesn't go reported. You know, you would never know because they don't report this stuff. Like, it doesn't make the news all that often. Like, super long delay on the subway and you're stuck. You're like, what the hell? It's like 45 minutes. Could be a suicide. You would never know. You would never know. Traffic on the 401, someone could have jumped. If you're that far, like, you would never know.
No.
So it's just kind of like all of this stuff goes unreported. I guess it would make sense, right? It's just like, why would it, right? So yeah, I mean, it does happen way too often. But I don't know if is that what you were asking? Like,
I don't know if I was really asking anything, just to shed some light on what these people are going through on a daily basis. And again, how we can't relate, we can't appreciate. I don't know if appreciate is even the right word. I guess it is. Like, you can't appreciate what they're going through.
You can empathize. The thing is with, I mean, anxiety, depression, PTSD, and people who have thoughts of suicide or self-harm. The thing is, it just goes by the wayside. I mean, majority, not just those, like schizophrenia, bipolar, all those other mental health diagnoses still go under the radar because they're typically not physically like visible. So someone who's being what you would call, not you, but like in general, people are like, why is he being such like a moody little bitch? That guy could be having a serious depressive low. Mm-hmm. You know, he could have super social, like high anxiety or generalized anxiety or whatever. And you would never know. And so we just place judgment on all these people. So yeah, that's the thing. We never understand what they're going through, and it's hard unless you actually have depression or anxiety, even if it's not diagnosed. I mean, that's the other thing, is it goes so undiagnosed because I feel like it's just still a stigma, or just awkward, or like nobody knows how to talk to their doctor about it and then get the referral to get a proper diagnosis.
I hate going to the doctor for like my arm that hurts.
Like, your arm could be hanging off and it's clearly obvious, and you'd be like, oh, maybe I'll just wait.
Yeah, so take something like depression or something.
Yeah,
that's even worse, because that's something that, like you said, people keep inside. It's not something that, like, I don't know, my arm hurts. It's a physical thing. Like, you can tell I'm like, oh, it hurts. Depression is like deep down inside.
Yeah, and again, the stigma is like, if you had depression or if I had depression and, you know, as best friends or whatever, after like 30 years of me kind of maybe moping around, or like always kind of being in this low or majority of the time, or just turning down invitations to do something, you'd probably just get kind of like sick of my shit. You'd probably just kind of, you know, depends, right? But like, you know, most people might be like, well, like, forget them, or like whatever. Like, no one thinks, like, it's hard to explain, but like, if
no one offers their hand,
like if you kept or like if you kept telling me I have a pain in my neck every day, I'd be like, well, you should probably go get checked out.
Right.
You probably have a tumor.
I did get checked out, and you guys still didn't believe me.
Yeah, we still didn't believe you until you're on the operating table.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's probably, you know, I'm just saying, like, if you were just kind of like mopey or low or depressed, or always kind of like half talking about like killing yourself.
How do you half talk about that?
Well, you kind of just brush it off, like, man, I wish I was dead, or like, you know, like, just kill me or whatever. Like, people throw that language around very casually. You know, it would probably just be like, you normalize it as kind of like the outside person, and just be like, it's just Jamie being Jamie, or like whatever. It's just, he's just going through one of his moods.
I would hope we would be able to pick up on it.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope, but at the same time, there's so many factors. Just the fact that we're men is this huge factor about it. You try being a again, quotes, air quotes here, mopey little bitch on chicken wing night. You know, we're having beers, watching the game, and you're sitting there. I don't know what's wrong. Like, I don't know. I'm just all messed up, and like, I don't know. You like. There, again, just the fact that we're men is, I think, another barrier to the stigma of just being able to talk about it.
Right.
And just being able, you know, we're not in tune with our feelings and shit. And so it's just like, we might, and even if I wanted to ask you about it, maybe I wouldn't want to. in a group setting.
You'd be scared of what my response might be.
Yeah, or like, what would Jesus say? Because you'd be like, stop being such a bitch, right? Fucking Jesus. R.I.P. You know, so then you would hope that maybe if I got in tune to it, maybe I'd send you a private message or like talk to you or whatever. But
and I guess it's not something you would bring up in a public setting either with 6 of your buddies and stuff.
I guess you wouldn't bring as the concerned friend. Yeah. And so, I mean, this like the thing with suicide is also a lot of people have this stigma, and I work with children and mental health, and so a lot of them come in with depression or suicide or self-harm. And it's so taboo for parents. Like they actually tell you, we don't talk about suicide. Don't talk to my kid about suicide. I'm like, well, you know, he's here because he's suicidal. So there's a huge, I guess, stigma, I guess, or like there's a concern that if you were to talk to somebody about suicide, they're going to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Which is like proven false.
Yeah.
It's actually like the opposite. Mm-hmm. So if you could actually show and normalize some of their thoughts and feelings and talk to them about it, you're probably in a better situation to help that person, and maybe them help themselves.
It's a shame how many kids are probably out there too that aren't calling child services or not calling you, that aren't getting the help that they need. Yeah.
And, I mean, I used to work on the crisis line, at my agency, and I'm in a different department, and it still has this track record, you know, knock on wood, nothing changes. But every kid who's called through, or every parent or family who's called through on the behalf of their kid, there's never been a suicide on the other end of that. Well, you know, has their kids committed suicide? Of course. But like the ones who have called through and reached out for some help, or the parents who have done that on their behalf, there typically hasn't, that we've heard of, I think we would have heard of, any kids who's followed through on that suicide. So it's kind of like 100% track record. So the idea is like, if you can talk about it, you'll get support. Because the reality is, and even the kids who do reach out, or the adults who do reach out for support, they still kill themselves all the time. And people have to understand that if somebody wants to end their life, they're going to end their life. Unfortunately, there is nothing you can do at that point.
Yeah.
Like
you can't lock them up in a room. And
yeah, exactly. You can't put them in this bubble. And it is kind of like the shitty conversation I've had with parents a lot, where we've safety planned for their kid because their method of suicide might be to cut themselves. And so we safety plan around like the sharps and stuff in the home and putting that stuff away. But the very ugly conversation I have to a parent, I'm like, we're, you know, just so they have all the information, not to necessarily your kid's going to kill themselves, but like the reality is if he wants tomorrow, he'll jump off the balcony. He wants tomorrow, he'll jump in front of traffic. He wants tomorrow, he'll grab a knife anywhere else in the world and do it. So, I mean, you can only do so much, but just know that you should do something and follow through on kind of recommendations and all that stuff.
The only other thing I want to talk about then, so just so we kind of shift gears a little bit, is, again, back to Chester Bennington and Linkin Park. Do you connect on that level with any bands? Have you ever connected on that level with any bands? Because growing up through high school, again, the closest I've been to music has probably been in high school, where you're finding yourself and you're getting into bands and stuff. And again, I mean, my list, I wrote a little list here. There was Sum 41, No Doubt, Our Lady Peace, Alexa on Fire, Billy Talent. So like those are probably the bands. But if any person from those bands dies, other than, you know, it sounds terrible, but other than a quick social media post, maybe, and, you know, maybe I'll throw on their music that day, it doesn't hit me. You see a lot of times when a big name dies, a big celebrity name, you'll read through the comments online and people are like, this one really hit me, and I don't know how truthful those are. You know, I really loved Robin Williams, or I really loved Chester Bennington. This one's gonna take a long time to sink in, and I've never connected on that level with music. And I know many people who do connect that way with music. So anyway, so I, being ignorant about that, found a pretty good post that I was gonna read you the whole thing.
Okay.
So this guy on Reddit, his title is called "To Those Who Don't Know Why People Grieve Artists," and then this touches back on people that actually have depression and stuff like that. So he says, people like myself who suffer from mental illness and can't communicate them for fear of burdening others use music as their outlet. I've had headphones in all my ears since I was 5. Music keeps me sane because people can't. Artists become my friends I never had. Music is how I've grown up. I've become a musician myself because it's the only way I can express my emotions. I can't talk to anyone about losing someone like Chester. They treat it like another stupid celebrity death. Living Things, one of LP's most recent albums, helped me cope with the idea of dying and it being absolute. My dad and I spent a lot of time blaring Linkin Park, playing video games. We connect, and I feel like a part of my life as much as them a part of mine. Knowing I won't get more music from someone who inspired me to be a musician hurts. I've been crying on and off since I found out. I know it's stupid, rant, but no one else will listen. I love you guys. If anyone needs to talk about it, PM me. I need someone. And then he edited a few times saying like, thank you for all your comments and stuff like that. But anyways, I just wanted to bring up that post.
See, that makes sense. That makes sense to me because I don't connect with any musician on
anything. You're emotionless.
Exactly. And I mean, like, even if Anthony Kiedis or Flea or whatever from the Chili Peppers like off themselves tomorrow, I mean,
he's probably your closest thing to an idol you have in the music world. Yeah. Closest. I mean, I'm not saying it's close, but
I'm trying to think quickly, but yeah, I mean,
like he was your inspiration when you're playing bass somewhat.
Yeah. And so exactly. So maybe if like Flea killed himself, it'd be like,
I think you'd take a half a step back. You'd be like, damn.
Was like, yeah, it's like, I mean, no, Carrie Fisher didn't kill herself, but she overdosed, didn't she?
Carrie Fisher? No, I don't think so.
Like not intentionally overdosed. I'm already drawing blanks. But like that one kind of hit me a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Mike Fisher's wife, Carrie Underwood.
Oh.
Sorry, Carrie Fisher had cocaine and heroin all throughout her.
She overdosed, but I don't think it was intentional.
Probably not. But she was on a bunch of meds and antidepressants and probably stuff like that.
That one made me stop. Like, shit, that sucks. Because the same thing. You're just not going to get any more content from that person.
Yeah.
What this person's saying on the Reddit post is absolutely true. I think that's why you would grieve or mourn somebody. Like we don't understand because we don't have mental illness or depression or anything like this. So we might not have felt, I'm not saying everybody who doesn't have mental health doesn't connect with somebody, but we might not have felt that need to find that attachment or to find
fill that hole.
Yeah, exactly. To find that connection and kind of fill that gap of emotions or feelings and all that stuff, right? So, and when you hear somebody, because now in hindsight, like obviously all these 1,000,001 videos have come up about Linkin Park and stuff, and you listen to the lyrics, it's like, oh, he was telling you 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like he was telling you 20 years ago he wanted to die.
Yeah.
But you didn't take it for what it was back then. And so you hear somebody talking about it and they happen to become a super famous band like Linkin Park, like, this guy's talking to me, right? Like this is, and this guy inspired him so much more. He picked up music, he became a musician, him and his dad, like that's huge. Like him and his dad connected over this band. And so now he's dead. So you might as well have lost a friend.
Yeah.
And so that's our thing. It's just like, we would never understand it because we made that connect. Like, again, you don't have mental illness as far as I know, but if you told me Rain Maida from Our Lady Peace was that guy to you, you might feel something similar, I guess.
Right.
If he were to die or off himself. But I'm trying to think. I don't know. For some reason, I remember when Philip Seymour Hoffman, remember that actor?
That's the guy who was in like Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah, and like so many great movies. When he died, again, celebrities die all the time. I don't blink an eye.
That one. For
some reason,
that one said that sucks.
I'm like,
I want to watch more things with him.
I'm like, that guy's, I don't know why. And again, I'm not a celebrity lover. Even like when people like, who's your celebrity crush? There's something about it.
I think we talked about that like on episode 4.
Probably, right? As soon as you're a celebrity, you're unattractive to some extent to me.
Right.
I can't have that crush. So I always have to give this forced canned answer. I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, so I don't really have that connect. But for some reason, I was like, oh shit, I don't know why I really like that guy. I don't know why. And then
the only two that I recall that hit me and hit, I use the word loosely, was Finn from Glee, Corey Monteith. I remember I was in Calgary at the time on vacation, and I just read it on Twitter, and it's crazy, especially because I watched Glee with Vanessa religiously. We watched every episode, and he killed himself like between seasons like 4 and 5. So it was like a very active person, week to week, 22 times a year, whatever, however many episodes.
Yeah.
So that one was pretty bad. And then I think we've talked on the podcast before about Robin Williams, just because I think he's one of the most brilliant actors that I've ever have seen in the world of movies.
Yeah. It sucked when he died. What was I going to say? I remember when he died, I got engaged that weekend, and like that was my brother's first message to me. He's like, "Did you know Robin Williams died?" It's like, "Yeah, I also got engaged." And you knew I got engaged because I posted on social media, and that's what you tell me first?
Your brother's such like a little political tyrant lately. Like all he does on Twitter now is retweet Donald Trump and point out
and shit talk religion and stuff.
Yeah, he retweets like Ricky Gervais because Ricky Gervais says something that's half smart about LGBTQ and stuff like that.
And he's like turbo atheist or whatever.
Yeah, does he do anything in real life? Or is just a social media protester?
I think he's a social media protester by profession.
What's up, Bell Money?
What's up, Bell Money? I wonder if he listens to this.
No. If he does, hey, comment below.
Comment below.
Do you have a topic? Yeah, I do.
We'll jump. Wait, I had a pin.
Oh, you pinned it in the hanging.
Do you want to go to that?
Yeah, sure. I don't have much more to say about it. I'm always thinking about the kids. Now that I have a kid, I'm very paternal in that way.
Yeah.
Where I think it's such a bad way to go, just because you're not. I know depression. You're not generally not thinking about any other people, anyways. I mean, that's part of the problem with it. But I don't like it because you don't know who's gonna find you, and you could now cause a ripple effect down from that guy who finds you, and it was just like him being abused as a kid, right? That got rippled down to him, and now you're hanging someone. You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position to be found in a home or in a public place or wherever you do it. And I think that's the only time I want you to think about someone else is who might find you.
Yeah.
That rubs me the wrong way when people hang themselves. It's just a personal thing.
Yeah, because I had a call once from a mom, and as she called and said, because essentially how it worked before was the Christ line works. You call and it's like an answering service, and you just kind of leave basic details and like
There's no live answer originally.
It's a live answer person, but they're not us. They're like a third party triage center that essentially takes your call and then pages it out to us, and then we get back to you in like 10 minutes.
I remember you having the pager.
Yeah. We get back to you in 10 minutes. And so that way we can walk into a call knowing some basic details.
Right.
But anyway, so she had called in, said her husband just killed herself the night before and her daughter saw it. I'm like, oh, okay. And
this wasn't in the rule book.
Yeah. So I took that call, and it's literally like the mom said, yeah, my husband hung himself. I need you to talk to my daughter. My daughter's 4 years old. Just passes the phone.
4?
Yeah. Just passes the phone over. And it had happened. So this was like morning, maybe late morning. It happened like the night before. Daughter walks downstairs and just finds the husband hanging in the basement. And so passes the phone over, and I'm like, I didn't learn this in social work 101. What to do now. So I'm just like, hey, little girl. And
sounds weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Everything sounded weird. She's just like, my dad killed himself. I'm like, oh. I'm like, do you know what that means? Like that your dad died? And she's like, yeah, he's not coming back. Like, she's fine. Like,
she's processed it.
But the thing is, she's not fine. It's just she's a 4-year-old who understands what death is, but doesn't understand what death is.
Right.
Because if you were any older, you would probably be crying hysterically or just not wanting to talk to somebody. But the cops showed up, and they're like, here's the crisis number, call them now. Probably maybe not a good time, but also maybe a good time. But so anyways, they called. At this time, the husband's body was like literally just taken out of the home like an hour ago by police and ambulance or whatever. So essentially the mom just needs me to keep the daughter busy while she deals with the cops. And so we were talking, and once I established that she knew her dad was dead, and that was that, I kind of asked her, like, what, you know, how you feeling or whatever, and she's like, I'm okay, I'm just a little tired or whatever. Again, it's surreal because I know this is not normal for us, but for her, this is just like, my dad's dead. I get it, but she doesn't get it. Yeah, and so I don't know what else to do with that. So I just kind of like, well, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to, like, what do you like to do? And she's like, I love Mario Kart. And so we spent the next 20 minutes talking about Princess Peach in Mario Kart. I'm like,
that's all you could do with a 4-year-old man.
But in my head, I'm dying. I'm like, this is fucking insane. I'm like, I'm talking to the girl who discovered her dad. All I'm thinking is how much therapy you're going to need in a few years. And then where it got like a little hairy was when her grandmother, so the father's mother, comes over.
You heard in the background.
Yeah, like she comes.
That's the worst thing you do around kids.
So she comes over, I guess, obviously, right? Like her son just committed suicide. And then gives the most blood-curdling scream I've ever heard. Are we still recording?
Yeah, just my computer wants to do updates.
Gives the most blood, like out of a movie, sort of blood-curdling scream. And then the little girl starts like shaking. It's like, I'm scared. And I'm like, in my head, I think I put my phone on mute because I just so happened to have a student with me and they were overhearing the call. I put this, I'm like, I'm scared. I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm like, it's okay. Hey, I'm still here. I'm like, I'm here with you. I'm here. I'm like, you got me. I'm like, you don't have to be that scared right now. What were we just talking about? And then I said something about Mario Kart. It's like, oh yeah. And this one time I was Princess Peach. I was like, my brain was just like, kid, you're resilient. Like that's the only pro out of all this is that you are actually young enough that you are resilient as fuck right now because you don't know what this all means. Like if I heard my grandmother screaming like that, I'd start screaming. I would start crying. I'm like, I wanted to cry for this kid, but I'm just like, man, you're messed up. And then eventually I think a neighbor came over to just help because I guess the mom was like, do something with my kid. And then she came over, shook the phone. She's like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm just going to like play with little Joan, whatever her name. Yeah, I'm just making up a name. I'm like, I'm just going to play with her now. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I explained our service. I'm like, here's how much therapy you're probably going to need. Make sure you call this number.
Tell him Nick sent you.
Yeah. Tell him to get fixed. So yeah, that was a long story, but it's just same thing. I'm just like kind of like you asshole, bro. Like you did that knowing you have a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
You did that probably knowing that your 4-year-old goes to the basement every morning or whatever.
Right.
Like, you know, like why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Anyways, just the grandma crying thing in the background. I did a call when I was doing the paramedic thing, and like I don't know, a kid bumped his head or like got a cut or something. I forget what the call was, but the mom was hysterical. I'm like, you're not helping.
Yeah.
Kids take so many cues from parents.
Oh yeah.
If you start crying, your kid's gonna start crying.
Same thing was happening with
Be
this girl.
calm and cool. Your kid's gonna be calm and cool. Anyways,
Yeah.
Little gripe. Anyways, we don't have time for your topic.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't want to talk about my topic this week anyways. Anyways, we'll end it there on this very depressive note. Ladies and gentlemen,
we'll talk about unicorns. And
next week, it's all unicorns and rainbows and shit. So buckle in. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of Dad's DIT6 podcast, episode number 36. Hit us up on the social media links down below. A couple people subscribed this week. Thank you. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a lot. Hit that like button. Rate us on iTunes. I don't know. I hear other podcasts saying that. Rate us on iTunes. Apparently, that's really good. Even if you don't listen to us on iTunes, go to iTunes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, love you. Bye.